We're 2-0 on this Monday. 2-0, Corey. How we feeling? 2-0.
Listen, we're feeling hot. We're feeling really good.
HKB live here on Monday, February 24th, and one PGB picking up what the league will call a huge upset. We came in with the mentality of winning. Yeah. I can't feel my wrist right now, but it's okay.
A lot of haters. Yeah. A lot of haters. They projected, some said we weren't going to win any game. Some projected us to have one win, and here we are 2-0 already.
Some would say the commissioner wanted you guys to win 0
Yeah.
games.
I mean, no shot against our commissioner, but also a shot.
In the great words of Lethal Shooter, I understand it now. How we doing, everybody? He Knows Ball here on Monday, February 24th. Quarter to my right. Came to my left, Soren is alley, and John is always in the island of Staten. JD making his debut for Bloomfield yesterday. Congrats, brother. We're so proud of you.
Thank you.
No hitter, I know.
3 no-hit innings. He did hit 2 batters, unfortunately.
The art of D2 and D3 baseball.
Exactly. John has to let him know to stay off the plate. You just got to let him know. JD knows, he knew what he was doing. I wouldn't say there was intent behind it, but he let him know, like, hey, I'm going to get wild when I need to, and I'll double you guys up multiple times. That's what JD does.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then I turned my own double play. It was all set up, but that was good.
But, yeah, so we got a bunch to dive into this week. Not even just sticking with the NFL. Obviously, Combine coming up at the end of this week. But we got a bunch of different stuff to go over. But as per usual, we'll start it off, as we usually do, with a little bit of Does He Know Ball?
Does he know ball?
All right. Last week, you guys struggled slightly, just a little bit. So we're going to give you guys hopefully a layup today. We're going to go over in order, the first 10 draft picks of this NFL draft coming up in whatever city it's in. I honestly don't remember.
Where's it at this year?
Green Bay, right?
I thought Green Bay was next year.
Let me see.
Oh, I thought it was, I don't know. I could be wrong.
Indianapolis.
Oh, it is? Okay, it is Indy.
Yeah.
Not terrible.
Well, it's ironic that it's in Indy because one of their division rivals has first overall pick, the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, I did lie. It is in Green Bay this year.
Oh, it is in Green Bay? All right, never mind.
I read the combine, but yes, Tennessee Titans are
Never
first.
mind, I'm an idiot. So Titans are first. Browns are second.
Yep. All right, let's get the other guys involved.
Giants are third.
There you go. John, who's fourth?
Yep. Giants are third. Fourth. Jesus, why am I blanking today? I'm too tired. I know who's 6 and 7, so if you guys could get to that.
First 3 innings doesn't know how to act.
Get to 6 and 7. Get to 6 and 7. I can give you those two. I'm very tired.
He has arm fatigue. Apparently affects the mind. Yeah. Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
All right, so we're at 3. Corey, who's 4?
Well, I know number 4 is Patriots.
Yep.
And that's like as far as I know, pretty much.
5.
Because that's all they kept talking about was like the draft order for the first 4.
I think the Raiders are 5th or 6th.
No, they're 6.
They're 6.
Raiders
That's what I was
are
going to say. So they're 6. So who's between? Who else sucked this year?
Oh, the Jags.
The Jaguars are 5th.
Jaguars, then the Raiders.
John, who's 7?
Yep, then the Jets, of course.
Number 8. We're getting somewhat of the middle pack.
Pack.
So we're looking like a game or 2 under 500 now.
Or 3.
Not yet. Right? Not yet.
3 games under 500.
That's just a guess. It's not the right number, but.
Or is it?
Wait, Niners?
They're 11th. They're just.
I think the Bears are in it, right?
The Bears are in
there?
it.
No, right?
Yes, the Bears are in somewhere in this order.
9th.
Okay.
No.
10th.
They are 10th.
Okay.
10th,
So
right.
now you need 8 and 9.
8 and 9.
I don't know why I did it like that. I'm so sorry. I know Dallas is like 12, I believe, right?
I think you're right.
They're
Yep,
12,
spot on.
Yeah.
Who else?
Once you get to Dallas, you're around the 500 teams, so you're missing some teams that are just a
Who
little bit.
suck.
slightly
bad at
ahead.
football. Got it.
One of these teams had a pretty solid start, and we were really looking forward to watching the
Saints.
Yep, the Saints.
8th or 9th?
They're 9th.
So who's
8th?
Who's 8th? Where did the Saints go?
Marching in?
Yeah.
It's a team that I think everyone.
Panthers.
Yes, the Panthers. Congratulations. You guys got it. All 10 in order. I'm not going to read through all 10 again. Hopefully, everyone was paying attention. But that's the draft order for the first 10 picks. We'll probably dive a little bit into them eventually today.
Yeah, 100%. So the first thing being, as I had mentioned a couple minutes ago, that the NFL Draft Combine coming up this weekend. always a fun time of year. Hopefully we don't get another Chris Jones situation. I know he went on New Heights, and he was talking about that with the Kelsey boys.
Took me a minute to.
It took you a second to remember what happened in.
He just ran really fast.
He ran really fast. That's exactly what happened.
Let's say he ran out of his shorts.
He did. He said he was trying to be different and like switch it up and like wear like the tighter stuff because everyone
The
usually
spandex.
yeah, boxers. And well, he really didn't realize they were like boxers. We have for Thursday, as my kicks off, we have defensive linemen and linebackers. Friday is your DBs and your tight ends. Saturday being the big day, running backs, quarterbacks, and wide receivers. And on Sundays, the big fellas, the offensive linemen, probably going to throw up 30-plus reps on the bench press. But yeah, so it should be a good weekend. But with that, this time of year, every single year, there's a lot of people who rise because of the combine, and there's a lot of people who fall. So I kind of wanted to go over some of the people that we thought would be risers and some people who could potentially fall from the combine. Corey, I'll let you kick it off.
Risers, I think Will Howard. I mean, just kind of the season that he had, and especially his performance in the CFP. I think right now he's more of like a second round, maybe a late second round pick, but if he's in the right situation, like, I don't know, maybe if the Steelers draft him, let's say, I mean, because Russ is getting older and, you know, God forbid if Fields is bad, let's say, down the line, I mean, Will Howard could learn from guys like Russ and Fields, which Fields, even though he hasn't had a lot of success, I guess personal success he's had. I mean, he still has played somewhat good when he was in Chicago, but I think Will Howard.
Are you just trying to speak it into existence for Pittsburgh to take him?
No, but I'm just, if I had to choose a situation, I mean.
I'll stick with the same position, not in the aspect of where he's getting drafted, but actual position. Jackson Dart. Now, coming to the season, he was very highly touted, was supposed to be a first rounder, and then a couple losses kind of set him down a little bit. But there's been a lot of clamoring about him being a first-round quarterback. I think the combine could make or break him. I think if he balls out, because you see the talent. I mean, this past year, he threw for almost 4,300 yards. He ran for about 500. He's been a solid dual-threat quarterback. But I think if he has a really good combine, he could potentially get himself, I wouldn't say into the top pick conversation, but I could definitely see him within the top 10, maybe top 15 if he has a really good combine. But if he has a bad one, I could definitely see him kind of spiraling down to the late second. He's kind of on that like fringe first round at the moment. He has a great combine. He's going top 10, top 15. He has a bad combine. He could definitely stumble down to the late second, and depending on how the draft falls out, possibly even the third.
Couldn't agree more. I was about to say him as well. He's my favorite quarterback right now, honestly, in the draft. But so I don't repeat anything you guys said. I think Kyle McCord, I think he can set himself up for a big rise in the draft board. Just because like he's not the most athletic guy, we know that, but he has a really, really good arm. This year he played terrific. I mean, just did a great job. He's a big guy too, so like he's very he could be very well liked by the scouts at the draft. So we'll see what happens with him.
I think the only thing with him is his turnovers. He did throw 12 picks this year. But, I mean, if you look, Syracuse's offense lit it up. He threw for almost 4,800 yards. And even at OSU last year, he wasn't great by any means. He was solid. I won't, like, pass it up. But, like, this year in Syracuse, especially, like, first year in that offense, I mean, he absolutely torched ACC defenses. I mean, you can tell he plays well in the big game. Or at least he proved it this year. They went against top 25 opponents. They went 3-1, and he threw for no less than 300 yards in any of those games. He eliminated Miami from the playoffs. In their bowl game, he threw for 450 yards and 5 touchdowns. So like he kind of proved that like he has that big game feel to him this year, as well as if you put him in an offense where they have some pretty talented receivers, let him go out there and sling it, dude. He could 100%, and he won't be an early pick. I could definitely see him. I think they have him about like the 4th round right now. He could definitely work his way up to a day 2 pick for sure. I think the next one that I have Now, it's not really a specific player. Now, there's players I've listed here. I think any running back besides Ashton Genty, because we know Genty's going to be probably a top 15 pick.
Yeah.
Ideally, I see him going to Dallas, but there's somewhere where he's going to land in the top 15.
You don't
However,
think the Bears might pick him up?
I could see the Bears for sure. I just think they signed Swift to a 3-year deal. So I think if it was next year maybe and then cut ties with Swift, I just don't really see it happening right now. But we know Genty's going to go early in the draft. But we kind of proved this year that like running backs are starting to become relevant again.
Yeah.
You really saw like the teams who had good running games were the teams who had success. So whether it's Amari and Hampton, either of the Ohio State guys, Judkins or Henderson, whether it's Scadaboo, we were huge on Scadaboo. No, he's not going to be a day one pick by any means, but he could definitely work his way up to like potentially, I think, a mid to late second rounder. Caleb Johnson from Iowa. There's a lot of very talented running backs. Even Ollie Gordon, a guy from OSU who toured up last year, had a really bad year this year, primarily because of Oklahoma State. They had a bad year and they were playing from behind in every game, so he really didn't get the opportunity to run as much as he probably could have. But those are guys who, if they have a good combine and even like post combine, they have good team workouts, could definitely work their way up the draft board.
Yeah, I agree.
Devin Neal as well, Corey.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, go
I
ahead,
don't know if
John.
you were going to say that. Devin Neal as well from Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
He was terrific for his 4 years there, so that's someone to sleep on as well. I mean, 32 touchdowns in the last 2 years is actually crazy.
Yeah, and like I was saying, we were talking about Amari on Hampton. I mean, I know UNC didn't really have the best year, but he was just carrying that offense. I mean, still feel like he should have been a Moigoy Hall of Famer. I mean, every game, it was 150 yards or better on the ground. It felt like you were watching Saquon Barkley. Obviously, Genty was doing it a lot more than Hampton, but I mean, 1,600 rushing yards, 15 touchdowns. Like he carried that offense, and without him, I mean, they would not have been 6-6 this year. They would have been really, really bad this year.
What's nice too is he is going to be turning 22, so he is a bit on the younger side. Because some of these guys like who are going in the draft, they have a lot of tread on the tires. Now, while Hampton has rushed for 250, or he's had 250 carries or more in each of the last 2 years, he still looks fresh. Like, it didn't really look like he was ever slowing down later in games. So yeah, I really think any of the running backs, if they have a good combine, could really help their draft stock. Because we saw if you had a good running game this year, you were most likely going to have some success. The next one I'm going to go back to Ole Miss, and it's Trey Harris. Now, he balled out with Jackson Dart. Usually when the quarterback has a good year, the receivers have a good year. And Harris, I mean, was absolutely excellent. He went for over 1,000 yards, and he only played, I think, like 8 games. Now, granted, he did have like some really explosive games. He did have 225 against Georgia Southern, which, let's be honest, isn't the greatest opponent. But still, like he could always get the big shot. Any of these, he's a big play player, and he has a bigger frame too. He's 6'3". It was his 5th year of college football, so he's a little bit on the older side. But I think scouts would be willing to look past that. But I think Harris, I think they have him about 2nd or 3rd round. Could definitely work his way up to an early 2nd if he balls out. And I think people will say it was because of the offense. I think he'll prove that it wasn't just the offense that he had success in.
Yeah, I was going to say, Corey, you got anything? 'Cause I got a receiver to watch out for as well.
No, I don't have anything.
You go first.
Yeah.
All right, Tej Johnson from Oregon. He had a really, really good Senior Bowl. He's the perfect slot receiver. I think the Broncos might go and try to get him just to get Bo Nix another weapon that's more comfortable with him. Because he lit it up. Those two lit it up 2 years ago, and he still played great this year with Dylan Gabriel. I mean, when you look at it, though, like 5'9", 156, you're like, he's one hit away from being in a wheelchair. But the speed he has and everything like that, he should be more than fine. And I'm sure he can do like kick return, punt return. That's a lot of extra value you can bring to a team.
For sure. Another receiver I have, and I know Cam mentioned him when the Senior Bowl happened, is Jack Beck, wide receiver from TCU. had his best year by far this past season, went north of 1,000 yards, had 9 touchdowns, had the game winner in the Senior Bowl. It's tough when a player goes into the draft and they've only had one good season, whether it's from being on the younger side or just having like a lone good season. So this was his best year across the board. But I really think there's a lot of talent to be had here, and I think if he has a good combine, teams will definitely look at him more favorably. I believe right now, I think it was like on most big boards about like the 6th or 7th receiver. But I think he could definitely work his way up to be someone who goes in the 3rd round, and then we look at it this time next year and like, wow, how did he fall to the 3rd round?
I understand where you're coming with that. Like, this was his first season with over 1,000 yards, but like based off looking at his career stats from the last 4 years, I mean, 2023 only 12 receptions, but on 146 yards. 2022 16 receptions, 200 yards. Like, he really didn't get the time. I wouldn't be shocked if, because of the statement that he made at the Senior Bowl, and obviously he could make a statement at the Combine. I think right now, probably going to be looking at like maybe a 5th rounder with Jack Beck. He's high on the wide receiver board. I just don't see, just with the lack of actual like game experience, like catching the ball, running with the fly. I think there's going to be some teams that are going to be a little bit hesitant on that, which makes me think he's going to go a little bit later. Maybe he can get. Maybe I don't want to say he's going to go undrafted because he deserves to get one of those late round picks, but it's going to be a tough call with Jack Beck where exactly he lands. But you're right. If he has a crazy combine, like runs an insanely fast 40, he can easily climb that to a 3rd rounder. Probably the peak. That would probably be his ceiling.
Going through mock draft database we'll go from February on. So we have 3rd round, 2nd round, 1st round, 2nd round, 3rd round, 3rd round, 1st round are all the grades he's getting. Now before that, it varied a lot more. 7th, 6th, 6th, 4th, 5th. So I don't see him going that low because I think the talent is definitely there. And this is where, like, if he has a good combine, I could for sure see him maintaining the slot. If he has a big combine, I could see him dropping out of those rounds. But I really see him kind of going in the 3rd round. I think there's just too much there, too much talent there to kind of be passed up on.
That's the tough thing about the NFL is, like, there's so many good receivers and a lot of them that fly under the radar. And, you know, some teams regret not picking up somebody like him. Like, if he ends up flying under the radar, they're going to be like, damn, we should have taken him, you know, because again, there's no guarantee that a first round receiver is going to be a Hall of Famer or just a superstar talent. So it's sometimes you just got to take that gamble.
For sure.
Yeah.
I definitely think that. And we've seen it in the past where sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. Who else do you guys have? Because I kind of barreled through the main guys I want to look out for.
I mean, I had Elijah Arroyo, the tight end from Miami. I mean, he had career highs this season, 35 catches, almost 600 yards, 7 touchdowns. In his first 3 seasons, he only had 11 catches. And he's a big tight end. I mean, 6'4", 251. And I was reading his scouting report. He's been just incredible at creating separation. He does it just effortlessly. And, you know, the NFL offenses want weapons, and I think he'd be a big weapon for an offense.
Kind of seems
Huge. I agree.
Kind of seems to be just kind of looking through within the last month. It seemed like he was kind of like a day 3 type of guy. It seems like he's trending upward. I'm seeing a lot of day 2 picks, so 3rd or 2nd round, and even like a lot of these most recent ones have him in the 1st, which is a good sign. But that's what it means. Like if he's testing that now, if he has a bad combine, he's probably going to go back down to solidified 2nd or 3rd rounder. But if he has a good one, he could definitely work his way into that top tight end category.
Yeah. I was gonna say Charles Grant. I don't know if many people in the football circle have heard of him. Terrific story. I was reading about him the other day. He didn't start playing football until his junior year of high school, which is crazy. If he played 2 years of high school and then went on to play in college, FCS of course, but still, I think this is one of those guys. We've seen it for the past years. There's always 1 or 2 good, really, really good FCS offensive linemen that become starters in the NFL. I think he's the next one, and I think he's going to be one of our favorites, and we'll be talking about him a lot in the fall, especially because I couldn't believe this. He ran like 21-mile-an-hour sprint speed, and he's like 330 pounds. Like I've never seen that in my life. So I got to give him credit where it's due, man.
John,
I'm excited for him.
I'm trying
I
to
believe
look him
so,
up.
yeah.
I haven't heard of his name. That's why I'm
Charles
just
Grant.
looking through him right now.
No,
Grant
yeah,
is, Grant
I believe so.
Grant was
I literally-
invited to the
I
combine.
looked up Charles Grant, and it brings me to a 2020 or 2002 first-round draft pick. Charles Grant, football defensive end. He's 46 now, but he played with the Saints.
Yeah, nobody knows him yet. Nobody knows him yet.
Yeah, from seeing that, I think I looked him up again, mock draft database. Take it what you will, but about second or third or fourth round for most picks within the last month. Yeah, no, I can definitely see
It'll
it.
be a steal.
I would definitely won't disagree with that. I think one of the big ones, we primarily focused on the offensive end. There was one guy I wanted to mention defensively. And again, I'll go back to what seems to be my favorite school when it comes to keeping an eye out. Ole Miss. I'll go with Walter Nolan, defensive tackle from the Rebels. I think he had a really good year, and each year he's gotten better and better. But he was a top recruited pick. He was a top recruit coming out of high school a few years ago. He originally went to A&M. Wait, is he going to? Oh, I spelled his name wrong. That's why. But he was a top recruit. He originally started at Texas A&M for his first 2 years, and then transferred over to the Rebels this past season. And he's well within the first round. He is guaranteed within the first round. But kind of the way we've been saying for everyone, if he has a really good draft, I think he could definitely catapult his name up to potentially being in the argument for that top pick. If he has a bad one, I could definitely see him stumbling his way out, and dare I say, maybe even out of the first round. I think no one has all the talent in the world, but it depends on how he grades out at the combine. This is a make or break time for a lot of these players.
I got two more for you guys, solely because I know my Jets do not have any safeties on the roster. So I've been trying to see what safeties are available. One, Lathan Ransom from Ohio State. He was a dog, and people don't know him because of Caleb Downs, his other running mate, during the run they had in the postseason throughout the entire season. But he was very, very good as well. I could see him getting drafted in like that second, third round range. Very athletic, 6'1", 210 pounds, so he's going to be very good. And my Irish, Xavier Watts, I think he'll be a steal just because of how he's a guy that played a ton of college games at the highest level, so he's going to have a ton of experience ready to go. I could see him being a late first-round pick. I know a lot of people saying second round, but I could see him sneaking into that late first round for a very good team. He could be a plug-and-play type of guy.
So Ransom is grading about as a fourth-round pick right now. A lot of these mock drafts of late, especially, have Watts like last couple picks of the first round, but as a first-round pick, mock draft database has him as a second. But again, this is where the combine is so crucial. If you put together a really good combine, it's going to lead to a ton of team workouts, and that's how you work your way up. You know what I mean? Like, mock draft database is giving Watts a 6.9% chance to be a first rounder. Yeah. Corey, you got anything else before we move on?
No, I do not.
All right, yeah. So make sure we're going to have to check out the combine this week. I'm very interested to see the guys that we talked about, and even some of the ones that we might have passed over today. Like, I'm curious to see how they grade out this weekend. Sticking with football, though, this is something Dallas is going to have to look for this offseason. Zach Martin officially retiring. So, like, I'm curious on what the plan is for Dallas moving forward. Maybe they go after Grant, JD. Maybe they go after your boy.
They should. They'll probably just draft a running back instead.
They will.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with that in mind, you know, one of the team needs for Dallas is going to be interior offensive linemen. Fortunately for us, none of us are Dallas fans because Dallas sucks. But with that, we do want to go over our teams and like what each of our teams' needs are, whether that's specific players, whether that's positions. So, Cam, I'm going to kick it off with you with the Lions. What do you think Detroit needs to address with the draft and free agency?
So, I'm going to mention this first because we honestly, realistically don't need to keep talking about it. And I think you guys already know where I'm going with on this. The Lions' number one priority should obviously be the defensive line. Looking at the edge rushers, obviously we talked about Myles Garrett last week. We still absolutely love that. But I kind of I'm going to pass up on that right now. I feel like at this point, if I just keep bringing it up, it's just going to make me more infuriated. It's just going to be beating a dead horse. So I want to take a look particularly at the free agents that are coming up for the Lions this year. Haven't really taken a look at the draft and where I think they're going to end up going with this year in the NFL draft. I know we're going to be doing a mock draft coming up shortly, so we'll get there when we get there. But I want to first take a look at the corners because our secondary did improve tremendously from the season before when we were in the NFC Championship to today. I think we can all agree with that. Definitely a whole lot better, but there's going to be a lot of moving parts, a lot of guys who are unrestricted free agents who are going to have their time to go look out at other teams and discuss their contracts and see what kind of money they can earn. But the three guys that I got listed here is Carlton Davis, Khalil Dorsey, and Kindle Vildor. I think Carlton should be a number one re-sign priority. However, I see the issue with how much money he's going to want to expect. I mean, there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be wanting to go after Carlton Davis. I think you guys can all agree with that. I think before he unfortunately broke his jaw, just like every Lions player wanting to get injured, had an absolute stellar season. I mean, dude was pretty much a lockdown machine. I think he finally, bringing in Carlton Davis, allowed Brian Branch to move over into that safety position, make him a lot more comfortable in that backfield, made him better. I think he made the secondary tremendously better. Now I want to take a look at Khalil Dorsey. I think I want to compare both Khalil Dorsey and Kindle Vildor at the same time. I think we're going to have to go. This is one of those situations where like it would be nice to bring both back for depth-related issues, but I think if you're going to pick one, you got to leave the other one go just to because they might end up being just too much money together. I'm going to go try and stick with Khalil Dorsey. I mean, him and Kindle Vildor have had roughly the same stats, both around 14 tackles this previous season. No really turnovers from what I can see. I'm just briefly looking at the notes that I have written down. But I guess maybe it's a little bit biased just because of the whole Kindle Vildor bouncing the football off of his face and having Deebo Samuel catch it on the 5-yard line in the NFC Championship. Maybe that's why I'm okay with moving on from him. But like if he stays, I mean, he hasn't. Though I will give him his credit. He knows how to stay healthy. He's always been there for a depth piece. I think he's always just been put in matchups that really don't favor his style. But if we can keep him for cheap, I would be okay with having Kindle Vildor come back. Now, two linebackers I want to take a look at: Derek Barnes and Al-Qaid Muhammad. Al-Qaid came in, I believe, around week 14 this year when Anzalone, Malcolm Rodriguez, both of those guys ended up going down. He kind of came off the practice squad. I don't want to say a nobody, but I don't think any of you guys knew who he was before he started on the field. I mean, am I wrong? Did any of you guys?
No.
No. That's exactly what I thought. Just trying to find it right here. Okay, so with only playing roughly, I think I don't have the exact game played, but let's just say 5 to 6 games. In those 5 to 6 games, he had 11 tackles, 4 of which were tackles for a loss, 3 sacks. I know 1.5 of those were in one game. And then 5 cornerback hits, and I'm getting notifications. But like for a guy who's coming off the practice squad who really just wasn't heard of, I think we can re-sign him for a pretty small contract and be able to bring him back for pretty cheap. I would love to keep him on the team. I think he had a tremendous season. He did a great job. I think he lives up to that next man up mentality. I think he'd be great for the Lions to bring back. Now, Derek Barnes, he's had his injury troubles, so I think we're going to try and maybe draft another linebacker in the draft. And plus with hopefully bringing back Anzalone and Malcolm Rodriguez, I don't think they're going to keep Derek Barnes just with his injury history. So they're probably going to move on to them. Now, defensive tackles, we have 2 that are unrestricted free agents. Levi Onwuzurike and Pat O'Connor. Lovely Pat O'Connor.
The man himself.
Pat O'Connor played 3 seasons before coming onto the Lions with, I believe, the Buccaneers and the Bengals, both of which he was just on the practice squad for. But when he stepped up big. He wasn't the best when it came to the actual run defense on the Lions, but he was a fantastic pass blocker or pass rusher. So I'd like to see Pat O'Connor probably get re-signed to a league minimum. Levi Onwuzurike probably is going to be wanting more money, so he's probably going to move on. And then the last 4, but these are just straight up what I believe to be key re-signings. I don't think the Lions really should pass up on these guys. And I think the one might catch you guys a little bit off guard just because, like, why would you even want to pay him? Because he's probably going to want a lot of money. But first, we're going to go with Soren's favorite player, Craig Reynolds. Craig Reynolds, Kutztown University alumni. Re-sign him. I mean, he is the perfect fit for the running back 3 slot. I mean, whenever I go to bed at night, I have dreams of that block against the Buccaneers from 2 years ago. I mean, the dude, when he's in that backfield, not even running the ball, but his run block is just absolutely incredible. He's like built like a smaller fullback, but he has such insane power. Next up, he's kind of started a cult following in Detroit, but Dan Skipper, I think we've all seen him. I mean, this year he had 1 reception for 9 yards.
Is he eligible? He
was eligible for that Dallas play. But 1 reception for 9 yards. I mean, he's a good depth piece for the O-line. Most likely could get that starting role if we can't re-sign Kevin Zeitler. So probably look to bring in Dan Skipper if we can get him for the money. And plus he's like 6'9", 320 pounds. Dude's huge. Next up, before we get to my last pick, Teddy Bridgewater. I think Teddy Bridgewater should be a key re-signing for the Detroit Lions, specifically because of his sideline appearance. I mean, he came in for a little bit in that playoff game against the Commanders after Goff got blown up, but I think he's the voice of reason that Goff needs in his life. I think he's very good for the sideline, as long as he doesn't want to go back to coaching high school football, which if he wants to retire, I could totally understand. But I say bring him back on for another year. I think he's a very key sideline piece. He can teach Goff a lot. And then finally, my favorite and the greatest wide receiver 3 in the entire National Football League, Tim Patrick. Bring him back. I don't think I think even though he's getting on the older side, he deserves at least 1 more year. I don't know if you guys can agree with me on this one, but I think I will probably die on the hill that he might be the best blocking wide receiver in the entire NFL last year. I mean, the dude was perfect, and then when he was needed to actually catch the ball and score some touchdowns, he was there to do it when you needed him. So, what are we thinking?
I want Tim Patrick, so I can totally agree with you. I hope it's a bidding war.
Wasn't that, like, honestly, like, when we're talking about, like, old heads who are still, like, prominent in the league, I think Tim Patrick was probably the one big surprise for a lot of people this season. Like, I mean, I didn't really expect a whole lot from him. I think, especially, like, trying to replace a guy like Josh Reynolds, who had such a great year with the Lions and unfortunately had to deal with a bunch of outside of the stuff with the Broncos and dealing with all that. But, I mean, he stepped up when he was needed to. I'm a big fan of Tim Patrick. I hope we can somehow re-sign him for cheap. So that's all I got for my list. I mean,
Yeah.
There's a bunch of other guys that are unrestricted, but I think those are the guys we should be taking a look at.
I like it, Cam. I like it.
Thank you.
All right, so Big Z and Corey, what do you think Pittsburgh needs to do this off? Well, okay, we know there's a lot that needs to get done. Primarily fire everyone. But
that's not happening.
What are the biggest team needs ahead of the draft combine?
Well, I guess I'll start off. We need a wide receiver. I mean, I think that's common sense. If you're a Steelers fan, you know we don't have a wide receiver too. So, I mean, in the draft, if you wanted to draft a wide receiver, I mean, I got guys like Tedero and McMillan if he doesn't get taken early for some reason. But I think the best chance we have in the draft, just based on like mock drafts, is Emeka Egbuka. I mean, he had a great year, 1,000 receiving yards, 10 touchdowns. I think he'd be a really good addition. And also in free agency, like Chris Godwin's testing the waters. T. Higgins, I don't think we'll have a chance in hell to get T. Higgins. But, I mean, even like Amari Cooper, I mean, he only had 547 yards, but he would be a lot better than, you know, Mike Williams and like anybody that we have right now. So I think there's a bunch of good options. I don't know if Jack's got something else or more.
I mean, yeah, wide receiver I think I have it as my second biggest need after quarterback because we literally do not have one on the roster other than Skylar Thompson right now. I like Luther Burden a lot as well, though.
Just
to fall, I've seen a lot of mock drafts. He is kind of fallen a little bit, but he's electric. He just had horrific quarterback play at Missouri this year. I think cornerback as well is a big need. Dante Jackson really was not that phenomenal in CB2. And there's a lot of guys that are probably going to be in like late first, mid second round territory.
Well, you guys weren't a fan of Cam Sutton?
He was great. He was phenomenal. No, I like Beanie Bishop as well. I mean, I think he's really underrated.
Yeah, I agree.
But
But how about I just want to bring this up because you guys are talking about wide receivers. Cooper Cup, would you guys be a fan with bringing him on a wide receiver 2 basis, trying to pair him with Pickens, or do you think he's going to be too much money?
I think he's going to be too much money because, I was checking our cap space. I mean, we have 55.7 million, but
It's more than what that's about what Stafford's asking.
that's
for
what I'm
right now.
saying. So I'm like, do we want to go out and spend all of our life savings on Matthew Stafford if he's like willing to listen to Pittsburgh? I mean, there's some different avenues we can go down, but I do agree with Big Z. I think quarterback and wide receiver. I know our lists, like our priorities are different, but I think they're equally important because we don't have, our offense can't get going in the first quarter. Like, we need something to spark that offense, whether it be Russell Wilson underthrowing and we have McMillan making incredible catches, or vice versa. We have a really good quarterback that could carry the offense.
yeah, I might be the happiest person in the world if McMillan somehow falls to 21 and Robert Wilson is like a good player. We'd be set wide receiver wise.
Okay. Is that all you got? Anything else?
I think that was it.
But maybe an entire new team, but
Yeah,
Can't do
and just clean house.
All right. JD, so with the Jets, what do you think the biggest team needs are?
Okay, so I'll take you through like three, I would say. Quarterback, of course. Safety, like I mentioned before, because we don't have one. Like, literally do not have one on the entire team. And then I would go, it's a mix between wide receiver and defensive line, because defensive line, we do have three, I think, really, really good players. But after that, there's not one other NFL caliber type of defensive lineman. So I think they really need to address that, because you see the best teams in the league win because of their defensive and offensive line. Offensive line, I think, is really, really set, so I don't think they don't really need to do much there. But yeah, and tight end as well. Tight end, they need a tight end, because Conklin is a free agent, and if I would actually bring Conklin back, but make him the tight end too, and draft one of the top tight ends that are available within the first 3 rounds, and I could deal with that. Pairing one of those guys with Conklin, I think that would make a good room. Garrett Wilson needs help, though. I don't know how they're going to address that. I wouldn't personally. I don't think a draft pick will help, because it's a guy that's going to need to learn everything that comes with the NFL. I think they need to go out there and make a trade of some sort. I don't know who that would be, but I think they need to do that. And for quarterback, I couldn't tell you what they're going to do. As long as they, I don't know, whatever. I'm not even going to address that. But yes, defensive line, safety, tight end, and wide receiver. But they're not a terrible team. I'll tell you that. They have good pieces in certain spots, and the positions you want too. Some of the hardest positions to find talent, they have it at. So they're not that far away. I mean, when you don't have a quarterback, you can only do so much. But I think if they shore up those certain positions, and they're going to have a ton of cap space. I think they're in like the 80 million range once Rodgers and Adams are officially gone, and Lazard as well. I can't wait till they pack his bags up for him. But those three will be gone, and the cap space will go up until like the 80 million range, which you can do a lot of damage with that in free agency the right way, though. You can't overspend on someone that's old. You got to go out there and try to make it work with certain specific players that would fit the scheme. And re-signing wise, they have to go out there and re-sign Sherwood, who was a star this year. Once Mosley got hurt, he got thrown into the fire, and he played. He played terrific. And then I don't really know, honestly. I wouldn't really re-sign anyone else. The type of guys that are out there leaving the Jets. Besides, like I said, Conklin, maybe Morgan Moses if he's interested, but I would do like a 1-year short-term little deal for that and try to get his replacement in the draft at some point. But that's it. Yeah.
Hey, John. So with Aaron Glenn coming to the Jets, do you think he's going to try and bring one guy that he's familiar with from either the defense or the offense of the Lions? Who do you think it would be and why?
Yes, I think Tim Patrick is someone they're going to pursue aggressively.
How
just
about
because
anyone besides
they
Tim
need?
No, I'm joking.
What isn't Amik Robertson's a free agent, right?
I don't see him on this list. From
I thought he was, but if he is, then I would definitely consider him, because they need a cornerback too. Just because DJ Reed's a free agent and they have young guys that I don't think are ready for that role yet. Besides that, I don't know. It's something that I don't think that he needs specifically guys from his previous team to have success. I think he needs the guys here to buy in. But I mean, it wouldn't hurt. I wouldn't be upset if they brought someone from Detroit. I mean, they've been winning games the last 2 years. If anyone can rub off that little magic on the rest of the team, I would appreciate that.
So Amik is signed through 2025. Had a
Okay,
$4
so
million
the next year.
contract. So I mean, you could look to trade for him, but it's that I don't know how much you guys are going to want to take on that contract.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade for him. Yeah, but if anyone else on the defensive end, maybe a linebacker or something, I don't know. They can figure it out.
That's a good question, Cam. Art of the interview, some would say.
Thank you.
All right, Soren, I'll let you kick us off for the Eagles, and I'll give my little spiel. What direction do you think Philadelphia needs to focus on when it comes to free agency and the draft this offseason?
I think maybe beefing up maybe a little bit of the defense, maybe by maybe getting maybe. I mean, I don't even know if I think we have some pretty decent edge rushers, if I'm not correct or not.
I think edge is probably the only thing that we're going to struggle with because Sweat's going to go out and get paid. Brandon Graham's retiring. I really do like Nolan Smith, though. I think he was excellent this year, and I think he's going to continue to develop.
Was I reading something? Was Nolan Smith the one who tore his tricep in the Super Bowl?
Yes.
Okay,
But they did say that he would be cleared. He would be good by 2025.
Okay.
But so I think the defensive end or edge rusher is definitely something they need. I think the two biggest priorities right now: re-sign Zach Bond and re-sign Mekhi Becton. Becton was phenomenal once they moved him inside, and he proved, as much as it pisses off John, that Mekhi Becton had success elsewhere. But he found his role on the interior offensive.
Yes, you're right. Yes.
He found his role in the interior offensive line, and I think Zach Bond. I don't think it's a flash in the pan. I think even if he doesn't put up the same exact numbers that he put up last year, I think you have to bring those two back. But I think there's a lot of ways that Philadelphia could go. I think the free agency. Like the free agent market for edge rushers is pretty deep. There's a lot of talent. But I think Philly is going to be smart financially. I think they're going to go through the draft, get someone for a bit of a cheaper contract, especially having the 32nd pick. I think they could, depending on how the draft shakes out, they might trade back to day 2. They might move up if they see their guy stumbling. There's Mikael Williams, Georgia Bulldog. Howie Roseman is foaming at the mouth to draft him. But like, seriously, this is a very deep edge draft class as well. I mean, the name I'd like to see Philadelphia bring the most is Jack Sawyer from Ohio State. I think he was phenomenal last year. He grades really well.
Tough. He's going to be real tough to get at 32.
They have him as about 35% chance to make the first round. A lot of mock drafts, ironically, have them going to either the Eagles or the Lions.
Yeah. I don't even think he drops to what? The Lions have 27th. I don't think he drops that low either.
I just think it is definitely it is early, but even still, we look past Jack Sawyer. That's who I would ideally like. Mike Green is going to go early in the draft. We know the talent with James Pierce and Abdul Carter, how high they're going to go. But you look at Williams, you get Stewart and Scorden from A&M. I'm not even going to try and say the kid from Boston College. Sure, you want to try that?
Donovan Ezra.
Sure, that's good enough.
Zaraku.
He grades really well. Landon Jackson, Princely from Ole Miss. Even not even going to try that one either. God, they need
Tumiolu.
Sure, that one. The other one, there's a lot of edge rushers they could go and get.
I know you made the joke last week, but I could very easily see the Eagles trading up for $5 in a biggie bag to Dallas to get the 11th pick and move up.
Again, there's a lot of things I could see Philadelphia. Even like Myles Garrett, I could 100% see them going after. I think the only thing Philadelphia needs is an edge. I think you have Saquon. I would like to see them bring back Kenneth Gainwell with him being a free agent, but I think Gainwell is good enough to go and get one of those a starting job at one of those places where they kind of don't have a true starting running back. I would love to see him back in Philadelphia green, but the odds are it's probably not going to happen. He's going to warrant a contract elsewhere. A receiver room I'm happy with. The O-line, even if Becton does end up walking, Jeff Stoutland University, you're going to get another interior O-lineman.
They're not Devontae and A.J. Brown both don't have their contracts up, right? Or like Britton Covey?
They have time.
What about
Britton Covey's a restricted free agent.
Okay, good.
Bring back Britt.
Bring back the Brit.
The only Britain I've ever liked. Not a fan of the Britain that they call great, but no, seriously, like their defensive backs are set up well. I really like, especially if they bring back Bond. I'm really satisfied with the linebackers. If Bond does leave, I think that's something you need to address. But I mean, the Kobe Dean before he got hurt, I was very, very, very satisfied with. So yeah, no, I think the only major necessity for Philadelphia is going to be address the edge, and even if that means give up a few extra draft picks to bring in Myles Garrett or to move up, whatever the scenario is. Obviously, you keep building your depth. Don't just ignore that. But I really think edge is the only thing. Even like Jalen Hunt, I think there's a lot of room for him to develop, but I could definitely see him developing over the next few years and becoming a legitimate threat off the edge. But I think if they could score either, I think if I'm Howie, the two ways I'm looking is land Garrett or get one of these super talented players from the draft. That's the way that I would go if I'm Philadelphia. Yeah. All right.
And get rid of Bryce Huff.
Yes. Maybe. You're anti Bryce Huff.
I love Huff. I'm saying. I want him back.
Sign Breece Hall on like pennies and then become the second greatest running back in the league.
There we go. All right, so we'll move over. The Four Nations ended on Thursday. Unfortunate, to say the least.
Okay.
Yeah, those Canadians won. But honestly, I don't think I could be more satisfied with how that was. The Four Nations was
incredible.
It was freaking awesome, man.
Chef
I was on the edge of my seat watching those games. Yeah, seriously. Shouts to Canada for picking up the first ever Four Nations victory, but the U.S. will be back.
Is it the first one?
Yeah, this is the inaugural Four Nations.
Didn't they did something previously?
Yeah, it's the first Four Nations ever.
Yeah,
it's the first one.
Yeah, they did the World Cup of hockey. That's what you're probably thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, no, the Four
Nice
Nations.
preview for the Olympics, though.
Yeah,
that's
100%.
coming up. Yeah,
I think that's the coolest thing about it is you got to see just four of the teams and how much they go to bat when they have their nation, when they have their colors on their chest, their nation on their chest. You know what I mean? Not that a lot, especially hockey is not one of the sports where they play for the name on the back. They usually play for the name on the front. But like with the pride that they had put on when they were playing for the nation, like golly, man, there's nothing like it.
Can you fight in the Olympics?
That's a great question.
I think you can. You
can probably strap in the Olympics.
My Rangers sold the bag, though. They should have won.
No fighting.
Oh no,
They
it's
screwed it up.
prohibited.
No fighting is allowed in Olympic hockey.
I had a hunch. I was like, I think you can, but I wasn't sure.
And the ice is bigger, right? Am I wrong? Is it wider or something like that?
In the Olympics?
It might be
In the
like
Olympics?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think
I
they
think it is,
do. I
right?
think they do international rules, like behind the nets, like
Rules,
bigger.
yeah.
Like the yeah.
But still, I think it's a great preview for how much pride these players put on their chest. And before we move away from hockey,
It's an automatic match penalty if you're fighting in the Olympics.
Oh,
yeah,
Let them scrap.
someone will take one for the team.
Come on.
But before we move away from hockey, a big shout out to Sabres announcer Rob Array.
Yeah. That might be my favorite announcer clip easily of the year so far.
100%.
I think it's going to be the best one of the year. I can't really. I don't think anyone can really quote what he said. But
No, but
he may have taken a puck off
Nope.
the face and had a very normal human.
Yeah, I was about to say, I
reaction.
think everyone in that situation may not have used the same exact word, but would have done the same
well,
exact
what's funny
thing.
was that wasn't the first time it happened. They said on broadcast, like, oh, and it happened again. Like,
Well, I was kind of shocked. I didn't realize they had the announcers on the ice like that.
Yeah.
I never realized.
Yeah,
that.
I always
Oh,
thought
they-
that
yeah.
was
Is that
higher
just
up.
a Buffalo thing? I think
no,
it's a
they
good
do
thing.
that. They do that
No.
like in like NBC Sports, like ESPN. It's
I had
like
no idea.
they do like ESPN is Ray Ferraro, like they call it inside the glass, and he just sits. So it's kind of like sidelined. He'll listen in and say, Penguins coach Mike Sullivan was upset with the guys. Like he's able to listen to both teams. I love that. They've been doing that forever.
Maybe put an extra piece of plexiglass so they don't get it next time. I think that's
I don't know,
gotta be
man.
it.
It's
Or give
finally
them a
getting people-
bonus.
It's finally getting people to talk about. I know you made the joke. But like, it's finally getting people to talk about the Sabres.
Yeah,
So,
Sabres suck. They've sucked for so long. It's like they're so bad.
pros and cons.
Pros, we get that. Cons, he takes the puck off the face.
Could you imagine his next game? He showed up in a bubble.
just bubble wrap. He's wearing a helmet.
Fishbowl.
We'll quickly go over basketball. Big news coming out of the great state of Texas, specifically in San Antonio. Victor Wembanyama is going to be out for the season, as well as Greg Popovich not going to return to the floor this year, and his future as a head coach still kind of up in the air. It's very unfortunate because Pop, one of the greatest coaches in NBA history.
Let him rest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What a career.
What a
I mean,
career.
we could probably break that down a little bit farther, but that
Yeah.
was. I was kind of shocked he was still listed on the roster. I completely forgot he was dealing with all those like health issues
Yeah.
and stuff. Very sad to see.
Yeah. But I mean, a Spurs great, an NBA great, and Wembanyama, I mean, it's a huge loss. San Antonio really wasn't in the playoffs. I'm excited to see where they go in the future. But yeah, no, it's a tough blow for the league and for San Antonio when you lose one of the best
Yeah.
players.
And blood clots too are serious.
Yeah,
you know,
I was about to just bring up like
Can't mess around with those.
Chris Bosh. That's the
that's
same
what
way
I was thinking.
Yeah,
Yep, I was
same way
thinking
his
that.
career
Yeah.
ended. I mean, unfortunately too, it's like Wemby's so much younger. So really, I mean, I feel like with one of those injuries, like the clock only starts ticking now. And I'm hoping just because he's a lot younger than when Chris Bosh did it, maybe his body can
Adjust,
fight it a little bit better, maybe get a couple years off. But it's the sad, fortunate truth when it comes to being 7 feet tall. You got to deal with stuff like that all the time.
All right, no more sad news. We got great news coming out of the Bronx, if you like facial hair. The New York Yankees, for the first time in forever, finally getting rid of the beard policy. Now, there is a policy to an extent. You got to keep it well groomed. Who cares? But with that, we thought it'd be fun to go around and say which Yankee we would like to see, who would we like to see most with a nice, good old, maybe not burly, but a nice, good old beard. Cam, I'll let you start because I know you're fired up about this.
So I know he already has a mustache technically, but we're gonna go with Austin Wells. I want to see him with the whole Brandon Marsh, get a long beard going, maybe throw some water in it. I
Don't
think
know if that would be considered well groomed.
probably wouldn't be considered well groomed. Maybe if he braids it, maybe
Yeah.
that. Could be called.
I'm curious on what they mean. I'm curious, like, are there going to be fines if it, like, is there a certain length it can't exceed? Like, do they have to get lined up consistently? Like, well, I'm curious on what the stipulation is.
The manager's gonna be in a dugout with like an inch razor, like the military when they do like the lineups. It's like up your half
Dude,
an inch over.
it's gonna be like private high. Like when I went to high school, if you had enough facial hair, they would send you with like a Bic razor to the bathroom, no shaving cream. And you just exactly. So that's what they're gonna make the players do.
Yeah, let's have him walk back into class with just like bloody.
Exactly, just all blooded up. Corey, who are you most excited to see with some facial hair?
Well, I would love to see Cody Bellinger with a Brandon Marsh, but I'm gonna say Jazz Chisholm. I mean, why not?
Yeah. See, let's see Jazz, a nice little some stuff. I don't know if
Once if he like dyed it like blonde or something, like a blonde.
have it match his hair.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if they ever clarified on like hair or like beard dye. So maybe Jazz could get away
Break
with
the
it.
rules. We'll make them create the rule.
JD, who are you most excited to see, or who do you want to see most with facial hair?
Yeah, before I get to my guy, I just wanted to talk about like the policy in general. Is like, I don't know. I feel that it was outdated, definitely.
Mhm.
But if you're the Yankees and you say we're the Yankees and we do this and we do that, then you shouldn't have changed it in the first place. But that's
Yeah.
besides the point. That's because I don't like the Yankees, so that's a good thing. But I would say DJ LeMahieu, that guy needs something going for him. His last 2-3 years has not been good.
Switch it up, yeah.
Look up a little bit.
Yeah.
It'll do something for him. I mean, I don't know. That's really the only guy I could root for in that team. So, yeah.
Bigsy, who do you want to see most with a beard in the Bronx?
I'm gonna go with Max Fried.
Okay.
Just because I know a guy who looks scarily similar to him. That make it a little different.
That's fair. Sor, who do you want to say?
I want to see Oswaldo Pereira.
Yeah, I got
That's your
100%. 100%. Wait,
Cabrera.
Cabrera.
Yeah, Pereira.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Oswaldo.
So when going through this, like we were kind of BSing about this before we went live. But like we talked about maybe like Giancarlo or Judge, and I just kind of can't see it. There's one man who, if you pull up his side-by-side stats, when he has a beard, is significantly better at baseball. Is that man Garrett Cole, dude? I think if Garrett Cole can grow back that beard he had in Houston, he's a Cy Young. He won the Cy Young without a beard. I don't even want to know what he has when that beard comes back. There's just, if you look at the numbers when he has that nice old thick beard, he's the best pitcher on the planet. So I think maybe it was a little bit of strategy for the Yankees. Maybe they wanted to see if the experiment would work if Cole could grow a beard. I definitely think that that might be the case. I want Garrett Cole to win Cy Young now if he has the beard. If he has the beard. If he doesn't have the beard, I couldn't care less. But if he has the beard, I want Garrett Cole to win the Cy Young just because. He didn't win it when he was in Houston when he had the beard because of Justin Verlander. So let him get a chance. Other big news out of the MLB. After the season, no longer going to be watching MLB on ESPN, usually on Sunday nights. They're ending their partnership. So I'm curious, where would we like to see MLB move to next? Now, we know they've done Apple TV on Friday nights. What I believe they might have done Peacock and NBC for the games overseas, the London games. So where would we want to see them go next?
Hold on, can I just ask a quick question? Yeah. John, why do you hate the ESPN Sunday night broadcast?
The announcing crew, I can't deal with it.
Okay.
They just don't know what they're talking about. Yeah. Besides Coney, David Cohn, I love him, but the other two, no.
I don't know. No, just for me personally, like as a pretty casual baseball fan, I think it's pretty sick when you bring out like the 7th inning and they mic up Brandon Marsh in the outfield and he's talking like.
Let's not take that away. Let's have the other wherever they go to next continue to do that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the other networks would still do that. Yeah. I wouldn't be. That's of course that's great. But no, I can't deal with the announcing crew.
Where would we want to see them branch to next? I think the first one that comes to mind, just because of how much they've been doing recently, is Netflix. With them having done, again, I don't know how it would go, but with them having done football, having done the Jake Paul fight.
We don't talk about that.
Trying to do
well, they did the Jake Paul. Again, they did the Jake Paul fight. Jake Paul and Mike Tyson danced around. And then them doing consistently Monday Night Raw. I think Netflix is definitely going to start to tap into that market. It's probably the biggest streaming service in the world. So I feel like maybe not consistently, but Netflix will definitely get a few baseball games for sure.
Yeah, I think if any of the subscription places do get it, I say go Peacock. I've been watching a lot of Peacock recently. I think they're like honestly, this is completely off topic, but there's been a lot of like the U.S. Trials for curling have been on. Been loving that. I don't know, dude. Whenever curling's back on, I absolutely love watching that sport. But I think Peacock would be a better home than Netflix. I'm really not a big fan of Apple TV's broadcasting.
So the thing that's annoying about Apple TV is it always ends up being the freaking Phillies, dude. The Phillies have like every Friday night game on Peacock, and I'm like, or not Peacock, on Apple TV. And I'm like, dude, I don't have it, so I can't watch the Phillies.
Well, I'm just speaking from like personal experience. Like, I never watched MLB when it was on Apple TV, but the MLS is exclusively on Apple TV, and it blows. Like they literally have one pregame show for the entire league, and then there's no pregame. Like it literally, the broadcast starts 5 minutes before kickoff, and it's literally just the lineups and then straight into the game, and then it's halftime is the universal like channel, so they're not even talking about the match or what. It's terrible. It sucks.
Where would you want to see MLB potentially move to?
So I wasn't thinking streaming. I was thinking like cable. How about MLB on TNT?
Oh my God. Just get the most Chuck Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal type players.
They've had success with the NBA, but even with the NHL the last couple of years with the crew they've put together with Lundqvist, Gretzky, Paul Bissonnette, like they've done a really good job, and I think they could replicate a crew like they have on Fox and do a really good job with that.
I think for sure. I think it'd be very good. I think the way that just everything goes is streaming services now, so that's probably the first place they're gonna look. But no, I think TNT would be really cool to test out.
Who would be your 4 on the panel to replace, like if
inside the MLB?
Inside the MLB.
I don't know, man.
John Kruk. Just from what he does during the Phillies game, his personality's so good. Who else is kind of goofy?
I'm trying to think baseball players that I know that are prevalent on broadcasting.
Poppy would be good. Well,
he's with Fox. Yeah,
Poppy's with Fox.
Yeah, him, Jeter, and I think A-Rod.
Yeah,
that'd be a fun lineup.
Yeah,
that would be a fun lineup.
But yes, I'm excited to see where MLB moves to. I think ESPN's fine. It's always been there, but I think it's time to hit a little refresh. Speaking of a little refresh, I think it's time to refresh your FanDuel pages or your DraftKings or whatever you use.
Responsibly.
Responsibly, very responsibly, please. It is time for the HKB Monday Parlay. Before we get started, we do have a disclaimer that gambling is a serious problem. Please set limits. Play for fun. This is what this is for. If you have a problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER today. All right, boys. How you feeling for this week's parlay? We missed last week. Cameron.
All right. All right. Let me defend myself real quick because I know everyone in this room is probably really upset with me. I've never been more happy to lose money in my entire life, and I will get to that. But I was watching it in class. Allegedly, I was paying attention. But Tio Hernandez, Corey saw the dive. That was awful. The dude, Tio Hernandez, dove in the box trying to get a penalty. Absolutely milked it. Got sent off for diving, which was kind of funny. They ended up having a goal scored by Julian Carranza, the former Philadelphia Union player, and that was his first Champions League goal. So I was going buck wild. That was awesome to see. That was sorry you guys lost money, but I gained some sanity back. It won't happen again. It won't happen again.
We're not betting against what we want to happen. We want to win money, please. All right. So, yeah, Cam sold the bag. So, back-to-back week, we have bag sellers. No, there's no allegedly. You cost us money, Cameron. You cost me money. So, we'll kick it off with the bag seller. Shame.
Shame. Shame.
All right.
Shame.
All right.
Shame.
So
Shame.
we got Legoat, La Sunshine hitting 2 La threes for the Monday parlay. Legoat will bless us with massive profits and margins. I saw when I put it in last night, it was at minus 110 odds. Now it's what?
Minus 290.
Should have got it while you could. But yeah, what is that? They're playing the Mavericks on Tuesday. I was thinking about going.
You're doing Tuesday?
Yeah, it's the Tuesday.
So again,
game.
you're another not so HKB Monday parlay.
No, there was nothing on Monday that I really wanted to bet on. Yeah, I was thinking Luka maybe double for that game, but Legoat.
Boo, 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 boo. Wait, how is that? How do you know the odds for?
Because I put it in last night.
It's available for Tuesday already?
Yeah.
Oh, because it's a TNT game. That's why. Okay. Corey, what do we got?
I got the Vegas Golden Knights money line versus the Kings. The Knights come out of Four Nations break on a 3-game win streak, while the Kings won the last meeting and surprisingly have been great. I think they're going to be a sneaky team come playoff time. I just think the Knights are the better team. 15-2-1 against Pacific Division teams, while the Kings have been kind of struggling in their own division, 7-8-1. And Jack Eichel's been red hot, 11 points in 10 games. And it's going to be a good game, though, regardless, with Aiden Hill and Kemper going at it in net. But the Knights are going to get the win.
Yeah. Okay. Soren, what do we got?
I will be taking the Winnipeg Jets puck line, as they call it on FanDuel.
Sure.
So far this season, they are second in the league in goals scoring. So that's pretty an interesting strat. I would say interesting stat to have. But then also, they're going to try to keep this 9-game winning streak going here.
Yeah, they've been really good this year.
Yeah.
And they're playing the San Jose Sharks, so
Yeah, they're going to win.
they
Shanghai
should
Sharks.
win that
They're
game.
so bad.
So hopefully they will take the victory in that game. And they are, I believe. I was checking on the Score app, which is what I've been using.
Sure.
They are first in goals allowed, and with the only allowing 2 goals so far this season.
Soren, are you sure you got the right odds for that?
Yes, that is the correct odds because I literally checked this.
Minus 170 is the right odds for.
Yes.
I don't know why they must have changed it a ton because ESPN Bet has Winnipeg minus 450 against San Jose, which makes a lot more sense than minus 170.
I don't use ESPN.
Money is money.
Sure. All right. Cool.
Let's go Legoat.
All right. To wrap it up, I have Cade Cunningham for 10 plus assists against the Los Angeles Clippers. Has gotten it in 3 of his 4 games against the Clippers, including his last 3. The last 2 games out, he's had 12 or he's had exactly 12 in each of the last 2. And then 5 of the 8 games this month, obviously excluding the NBA All-Star break, he has gotten this line And in the games he's missed, he's had 9, 7, and 7. So he hasn't missed 10 plus by a whole lot. And he's third in the NBA in assists. So I'm feeling good about Mr. Cunningham to go out there and have a great night when it comes to passing the rock. But just to recap, Corey has the Vegas Knights to pick up the W. I have Cade Cunningham, 10 plus assists. LeGoat for
The Sunshine.
La Sunshine. LeGoat,
The Bumbaclat?
sure, has 2 plus threes. And Soren has the Winnipeg Jets. Odds should be about plus 700, give or take, depending on the sportsbook. Just a reminder that gambling is a serious problem. If you have a problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER today. All right, boys, I think it's time for a little bit of Moi Goy of the week.
Wait, is that your goy?
No, I thought that was your goy.
No, that's
Moi Goy of the week.
So before I get into my actual Moi Goy, talk to JD about this. We forgot to text you about it. We're going to give each other honorary Moi Goys for our performances this week. So my honorary Moi Goy of the week is John Downey for his debut for Bloomfield. 3 shutout innings on 19 pitches. Faced the minimum amount of batters. Now did draw a couple. Got to let him know you're there. But JD, big shout. Your first Moi Goy nomination of your career.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm honored. Honored to be here. Thank you.
So I got it first.
So, JD, who's your honorary Moi Goy of the week?
It's actually you, the captain of, what is it, N1PGB? Am I saying that right?
We can't say what the abbreviation stands for.
Yeah, I don't even want to know what it means, but if I'm saying it right, that's all that matters. I got the stat line from an unnamed source, but you had 10 points and 7 rebounds. Was an absolute dog on the court the entire game. Got into a little bit of a heated argument, but that's part of the game, of course. And the boys are 2-0 in first place in the conference. Look at that.
Yeah.
Can't feel my wrist today, but it's okay. We
And battle through injury. Forgot to say that. Yeah.
Battle through adversity, battle through injury. Corey, who's your honorary Moi Goy of the week?
I got to give it to Reese Garvin, man. I
Yeah.
have to. I mean, he had a really good start to the first half, kind of cooled off, was getting chirped, and then next thing you know, he stood on business, almost got into a fight, and then just went off in that second half. So shout out to Reese Garvin. And yeah, the boys are 2-0.
Boys are buzzing. Boys are buzzing. They said it was an upset. No, not really. All right, time for the actual Moi Goys of the week. I will kick it off with Moi Goy of the week, Connor McDavid. I have here his new nickname. Yeah, I'm not happy with the result, but Captain Canada did it for his nation.
It's fine.
Had recorded a point in every game of the Four Nations, including the most important point, the game-winning goal against the United States in the championship. So big shout to Mr. McDavid in the inaugural Four Nations tournament.
Reminded Austin Matthews why he's on the Leafs.
Corey, here's your Moi Goy of the week.
So it's somebody that might be arguably better than Connor McDavid. Alex Ovechkin, the grade 8, scored a hat trick against McDavid and the Oilers 7-3 yesterday. He recorded his 32nd career hat trick, which is now tied for 5th most in league history, and he is just 19 hat tricks behind Gretzky for most all time. But that's not the biggest story. You know, the whole story this year has been chasing Gretzky's goal record. His 3 goals now puts him at 882, which he's now just 13 goals behind Gretzky for the all-time scoring record. And even this season, 26 goals, 43 points at 39 years old. I mean, he has just been balling out this year. Even the Capitals, they have been just so unexpectedly good this year. So, Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah. JD, who's Moi Goy of the week?
Yeah, so it's Juan Soto, and I'm going to do this to piss off every Yankee fan. So anytime he does something good, he's automatically my guy. Just because the other day on my Instagram story, I put the video of him buying Brett Beatty the $900,000 vehicle, and I had every Yankee fan known to man decided to chirp me. So now I'm going to take it personally, and every time possible, Soto will be Moi Goy. But besides that, he did hit his home run in his first spring training at bat with the Mets. A beautiful swing to left center, flew right over the fence, and I think we'll be seeing that a lot this year in Queens. And yeah, he'll be in the Hall of Fame very shortly, just for personal reasons.
Shut up, Chaffoo.
I like the first 4 words in here. Maybe a glaze fest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On purpose.
Moi
On purpose.
Goys of the week. Pretty impressive goys. I'll give you a more impressive goy. Soren Swanson, it's time to go down Soren's alley.
Welcome home.
Mr. Boss of the Sauce.
The
How
sauce.
we
I thought that was Soren that did that.
doing? Soren, how we doing, buddy?
We're doing good, guys. Like I said, we got an upset last night over the Archibald Run the Ball. Like I said, I didn't play very many minutes, but I respect Vinny's coaching decisions.
You played your role to it.
and I did
you
play my role.
Played
So,
it to a T. You let them
Yep.
know that you're the boss.
correct. So I only got 2 points, but sometimes you have an off week. I mean, I did have
You
a
bounce
big week
back.
last
You
week,
bounce
so
back.
I'll take that in consideration as well. So I did celebrate last night. So that was a very great night to have. Going into some hockey now, the Toronto Maple Leafs are on a 2-game winning streak now after coming back from the Four Nations. They beat the Carolina Hurricanes 6-3. Holenberg had a fantastic game with 2 goals. And the next game also, which was last night, which was the Chicago Blackhawks, they won again 5-2. Nate Robinson has 2 goals of his own. And his brother from the Dallas Stars also had 2 goals last night too. So they were also playing. I forget who the Stars were playing last night, but I just heard a stat on ESPN saying that both of the brothers have now scored 2 goals. That is its first in NHL history. So that's pretty awesome to see. Also in the history stats, the Toronto Maple Leafs after the second period are 25-0 now when it comes to winning the games. So that is very crucial. And when that is very crucial, they are now also very close to being in first place in the Atlantic Division. So that is very exciting to see. With the Maple Leafs' next game will be in Boston on tomorrow at 7 o'clock. So that might be on ESPN, might or might not. It depends where you watch the game. So it'll be awesome to see. Like I said, there was a lot of things going on this weekend. This is the first I've ever done before. So I actually got to have a crumble cookie.
Wow.
Cookie crumble.
It is my first time ever. And I will say, like I said, they changed their types of cookies that they make at crumble cookie,
Yeah.
and I had a oatmeal glazed cookie. It was
Glazed?
Glaze fest.
It was like a glazed frosting. It was very good.
Soren, I'm going to get a butter cake tonight. I can't wait.
Are you actually?
Yep.
I kind of want to get crumble. I'm not going to lie.
Monday, you gotta go.
Got to review all the cookies.
Now, Cameron, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So when do you think they change like their I would say they're like
It's every
season
Monday.
cookies?
It's every Monday.
Every
they switch
Monday
it
is
up.
there's new cookies.
Okay.
Hell yeah, they got some good
Yeah,
cookies.
because
They bring
like I
a
said,
couple. They bring a couple back. Like each week they'll rotate it, but every week is usually a brand new.
Wait, who put Eric the Electric in the Google Doc? Nah, crumble cookie has some good options this week.
Yeah, no, I actually had it for the first time. It was great. I would love to go back again. But,
Sure, we can
you
go
know.
right after this and get some crumble cookie. Looky crumble cookie.
Yeah, we don't worry about class. We're good. Thomas will understand.
Yeah, but
No,
hey,
but I
If we
actually
bring Dr. Watanis a crumble cookie, we might be able to show up.
no, I actually have to present today.
you
so-
got it, buddy.
So do I. So we'll both show up.
Just present you guys eating crumble cookie.
Sorry.
Yeah, we also me and Corey also went out again this weekend on Friday. We went to David Buster's and
Wait, where did you go?
David Buster's.
Not David. Try one more time.
David Buster's.
Dave and
Buster's.
Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, there's two guys.
Yeah, it's Dave. You don't.
Someone make a reel out of that.
Dave is feeling upset that you leave him out every time you mention it.
There has to be a drop, please.
David Buster's.
Well, I'm sorry. I mean, I have it. I literally have the correct spelling in my notes.
No, you don't.
Dave
know.
and Busters.
Soren,
No,
it's
you have David Busters.
David.
Soren, it's D-A-V-E.
Look at the picture. Look
Like Dave from Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah.
Dave
Yeah, Soren, look at
and
the picture.
Busters, not David Busters.
See, Soren, look at the picture. Like Dave and Buster's.
Okay. All right. But
Mr. David's gonna
Anyways,
feel
beside-
upset.
I just want you to say it right.
How was David Buster's?
How was David?
it was good. Like I actually got a burger that night too. So it was.
Did it make
was,
you
it was like
buster?
it was like a bacon cheeseburger, but it was all right. But Gavin, one of Corey's friends, thought it would be a great idea to play Uno with the bartender. So we did that, and Gavin ended up winning his. I believe he got he got like a Yoshi plushie, and he decided to give it to the bartender after the game. And I was like,
That's cute.
I mean, he did win though, so I was like, all right, that's a nice little gesture.
You know, David Buster would be proud.
So
David.
yeah, and,
David.
like I said, these boys right here, they're doing well too. Virginia Tech, not too bad. They're 4-2 so far. My family was actually down there this weekend. I believe my brother and my dad were both at the game. They went to go see UNC Greensboro. So I believe they saw a 6-2 loss. But they do, however, play today because of some weather issues on Friday. They do play today at 1 o'clock. So that should be very exciting to watch. And yeah, so we'll see how their season fares out this year. I would like to make the trip down there.
Yeah.
So hopefully at some point I will get to do that.
I wonder
Let's
if
go
they,
for a natty.
I wonder if they have any David Busters down there. We should go to David Busters.
There might be some
Great
down
Swords Alley this week.
Yeah, good job. We're always so proud of you.
Yep.
All right, let's get out of the alley, Cam.
This button.
All right, let's wrap this episode up as we always do with a little bit of picks. I still am El Champion. Corey right behind me. Better point differential than me, so with a chance to overtake.
Been sliding a little bit.
And then we got a 4-way tie for third, but last. Big Z's up top with the best point differential. Cameron and Soren, a little tie, and then John living in the cellar.
Are we not tied with John? Or we're tied on points too, right?
You're
I don't
tied
have
with
it up.
Soren.
I don't have it looked up.
Yeah, you're tied with Soren. John is bad. John is, in the great words.
I am tied for third place if you look at it in the positive.
Record
So I take it that way.
wise, record wise,
Yeah, that's how I
sure.
take it.
But you are dead last. All right, so we're picking.
That's not how you start, man.
That is a good point. Cam was not the crown holder at the beginning of the season last year, and then he ended up holding the crown for about 8 straight weeks. Hoping to avoid that.
Job's not done.
Okay. But so we're picking probably the most. Oh, I tried catching that on my wrist. That really hurt. Oh!
Another IR visit.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm just going to leave that here just so it doesn't fall again. We're picking probably the most interesting college basketball game of the week. We have Houston and Texas Tech facing off tonight. Probably 2 teams that we're going to see duke it out through the March Madness tournament, and we'll duke it out tonight as well as throughout the Big 12 tournament. So Houston currently ranked 5th, Texas Tech as the 9th ranked team. I'm going to roll with Texas Tech by a score of 79-74. Tech won the first game in overtime at Houston. It was Houston's only Big 12 loss of the season. Texas Tech is they are 3 games back from Houston for the top spot in the conference at the moment. Big note from that game. JT Toppin only logged 4 minutes, and he is the team leader in points, rebounds, and blocks, and has been absolutely tearing it up. Has scored 20 or more in 4 of the last 5, including a 32-point performance and a 41-point performance. They're coming off a loss. I don't see them losing back-to-back. And they haven't lost at home since an overtime loss to Iowa State about a month ago. They need overtime for that game, too. So this Texas Tech, this team, man, they are a phenomenal squad. Even before that, their last home loss was UCF back in 2024. That's a long time. That's a whole year ago. That was last year.
2 months ago. Yeah. 3 months ago.
Yeah. But no, I have a lot of faith in Texas Tech to pick up the dub. JT Toppin, have yourself a night. Corey, with you being right behind me with a chance to overtake me after this week, who are you going with?
I think I might with Houston going to win 75-70. It's going to be another barn burner between these top 2 in the Big 12. I think you're forgetting that Texas Tech won that game in OT by just 1. You know, Houston kept up with them. I think Houston's going to get their get back. I mean, I know they only score 75 a game compared to Texas Tech's 81, but they have the best defense in the country. They only give up 58 a game. And I think, you know, both teams are going to score more than that. I think it's going to be a pretty mid to high scoring game, but I think the contributions of LJ Cryer, Emmanuel Sharp, I think that offense is going to have a slight edge. So give me the Cougars 75-70.
Cougars. I love Cougars.
I'm glad you do.
Read with that what you will. JD, who do you got for tonight?
I couldn't agree more with Corey. I just got Houston a little more high scoring, 84-80. Like you said, they lost the first game. So I don't think Houston will lose again. It's very hard to beat the same team twice, especially these two teams are very, very good. And probably I would say 2 of the top 15 in the entire country. They're on a 6-game winning streak as well, so I think they're going to keep that going as the regular season is almost over. But Houston, 84-80.
Mr. Gorman.
So I really don't know college basketball. I didn't even know these two teams have played so far this season. My one goal with this game was to fade Soren Lamar Swanson. So that's what I did. So I took Texas Tech 81-76. That's all I got.
So Soren, Cam kind of previewed it. Who are you going with this game?
I will be taking the Houston Cougars with the score of 80-75. And I think that Houston's going to keep the winning streak going. They have a 6-game win streak going on right now, so we'll have to see if that holds up.
And Mr. Biggs to wrap us up.
Well, first of all, any tragic news from spring training? The poop game canceled today.
Oh, the
due
poop
to
game.
inclement weather.
Aw.
In terms of this pick, though, I'm doing the Houston Cougars 74-68. It is. I generally do a deep dive college basketball about a week before the tournament. So right now I know nothing about it whatsoever. But I think LJ Cryer is going to go off for like 35 points today. Little light work.
Oh, 35 is light work? Is that what that is? All
And a
right.
half-court shot.
There you go. Damn, I was excited for the poop game. For those of you who don't know what the poop game is, it's when the Phillies and Pirates play, and the graphics shows P, the number 0, the other
got
number
rid of it.
0, and then the other P.
They got rid of it.
Did
Not-
they?
Not the game. Have you seen the new NBC Sports Philadelphia graphic? It's worse. It's like pretty much the Super Bowl. It's the same font as the Super Bowl, but in the top left, and it's just like the team abbreviation, not the logo.
But like the
So
poop.
the poop game is dead on NBC
But
Sports
like
Philadelphia.
poop. All right. All right, so we got 2 Red Raiders fans tonight and 4 Cougars fans. I'm trying to hold on to this crown at least for a little bit longer. Could create some separation. Could have a 2-game lead if the Red Raiders win. Could still technically hold on to it if the point differential goes my way, but we'll have to wait and see. Boys, we're struggling. This is really bad that we only have one person above 500. This is bad, boys.
It's a tough start, but it's about how you finish, though.
I understand, but like it's a bad look, boys. We got locked in. All right, boys. We got anything else before we wrap it up?
No, but another Red Raiders fan, Patrick Mahomes. So there's 3.
Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes. In the show. JD, you got anything before we wrap it up, brother?
No, nothing.
All right, boys. That's going to do it for this edition of He Knows Ball. Make sure to follow us, TikTok, Instagram, subscribe to YouTube. Corey to my right, Cam to my left, Soren to his alley, John in the island of Staten. I'm Vince Goldschmidt. Stay ballin'.